Hi guys, my name is Alison Fernandez. The title of my research is Time is Money, and my topic is about the prison industrial complex. My research question is how did the expansion of crime contribute to the prison industrial complex? Some background information. The prison industrial complex is a term that seeks to explain the massive influence of economics in the area of punishment. According to many scholars, these incentives have reshaped the prison culture of this nation. I have a quote by Pitofsky. He is one of the scholars that studied private prisons. He says that half empty prisons, like half empty restaurants, and hotels do not create jobs or profits. My hypothesis is that the desire for profit through privatization has led to the expansion of criminality, therefore, an increase of incarceration rates. For my methodology, I will be doing a case study on Florida. I chose Florida because it clearly shows, it's an example of what a prison industrial complex is. Basically, as we understand, the prison industrial complex is a network of many private and public corporations that benefit directly or indirectly from the increase in the number of incarcerated individuals. My independent variable, as we can see, is the private prison's economic activity, and my dependent variable um, are criminal justice policies. So, for my independent variable, I will be analyzing a private prison's economic activity, as I mentioned before. This private prison is named Geo Group, which is based on Florida. We're going to analyze this variable by researching how much profit they make, how lucrative their contracts are, how much do they contribute to political actors, how much do they spend on lobbying, and overall political spending. I chose Geo Group because it's one of the largest private prisons companies in the United States, next to Core Civic, and both of them currently run half of the private prison contracts in the country, with a combined revenue of. So, criminal justice policies is my dependent variable. This have to do with the law enforcement response, the expansion of crime, changes in strict sentencing guidelines, the war on drugs, mandatory minimums, and three strikes and you're out laws, type of laws. So I wanted to show this short clip. Show it's John Oliver's show, and basically he makes a political commentary on the situation of Florida, and Rick Scott, which is a senator currently of the United States, but he was also the governor until 2009 of Florida. So I think this is a very important video clip that shows the relationship um, between governance and the prison industrial complex.
The key problem with running prisons as businesses is that prisons are then run as businesses. Pay and staffing ratios are so much lower that a Geo Group youth facility in Mississippi sometimes had just two officers overseeing as many as 256 prisoners. That facility eventually closed, but only after a federal judge wrote that physical and sexual abuse was rampant there because its operators had allowed a cesspool of unconstitutional and inhuman acts and conditions to germinate. Now, I know that Geo will say that presents an unbalanced picture of their company, so in the interest of balance, I will point out that they got an award from the state of Florida citing their bold and innovative cost-saving business practices. Although I think we all know when the state of Florida gives you an award, that award is basically sarcastic. In fact, a quick side note. The award was signed by Florida Governor Rick Scott, who has led the drive for prison privatization in his state, but on one condition.
What I've said all along is that this is an opportunity for the taxpayers of the state to save money. There's no way we'll do this if we don't save money. As you know, the bill says is that we don't save at least 7%, we don't do prison privatization.
Hey. Listen, if you think Rick Scott is going to look the other way for a company with a history of the physical abuse of minors for savings of $1 million.
The Washington Post reported that Geo Group made $2.47 billion in revenue and is planning to have 5,700 more detention beds by the end of the year, which is going to bring more than $100 million in additional annual revenue. Also, there was $1.1 million in contributions, $1.9 million in lobbying, and the Geo Group received a total of $560 million from contracts since 2006. The Justice Policy Institute identified the private prisons industry approach to increase profit through political influence in three methods. The first one is lobbying, the second one is direct campaign contributions, and the third one is building relationships and networks. This was reported by the Washington Post as well. Also, during his time as a governor, Scott was known for pushing expansion of private prisons in Florida. He campaigned to drastically slash the state's correction budget, in part by transferring inmates to private lockups. We saw that in the video that I previously showed. The Tampa Base reported in a journalistic report that and this is quotations, for Scott, these donations are nothing new. The Geo Group donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to Scott and his committees when he was running for governor. And after he got elected, the CEO of Geo Group even held a $10,000 per person VIP fundraiser in his home for Scott in 2014. Also, Scott's Super PAC reported $125,000 from a Geo Group subsidiary. So this is an article by the Washington Post. I'm going to read a short part of it. So it says, still, several reports have documented instances when private prisons companies have indirectly supported policies that put more Americans and immigrants behind bars, such as 3 strikes rule and Arizona's highly anti-immigration law, by donating to politicians who support them, attending to meetings with officials who back them, and lobbying for funding for immigration and customs enforcement. Showing just how important these policies are to the private prisons industry, both Geo Group and Corrections Corporations of America have warned shareholders that changes in these policies will hurt their bottom lines. This is connected to Florida because, as we know, I just mentioned the Geo Group, and I think that these characteristics are present in the state of Florida. They have a very tough on crime criminal justice system with mandatory minimums. As an example, they have a 1995 crime bill that requires prisoners to serve 80% of their sentence before their release. So, according to the Criminal Justice Estimating Conference, their analysis showed that Florida's crime rate declined for the 10th straight year. and yet more people are being incarcerated than the previous years. It's also worth noting that this is not only the case of the state of Florida, it's also happening um, in our nation. Crimes are going down for the past years consecutively, yet this culture of mass incarceration is very, very common in our time. So I wanted to show this quote by Smith and Hattery. It says, the prison industrial complex is a complex interlocking web of institutions that extends outward beyond any one jail or prison into their larger political economy and loops back to the thousands of jails and prisons. This is to say that this might sound as a conspiracy theory or as something that they are doing consciously um, in an evil way or with an evil goal. This could be even unconsciously. Maybe they don't know the harm that they're doing um, to incarcerated individuals, or how unethical is to have a system that needs locking people up and uh, to basically gain profit. So I wanted to, with my paper, I wanted to see the relationship between laws and policies that keep the system of mass incarceration and the incentives that motivates these private prisons. And it's basically a cycle, just like this quote tries to explain. I think it's extremely important to be political aware of this phenomenon, because if we have a system that expands definitions of what crime is and creates and is constantly creating new ones while enhancing and enforcing the existing crimes, especially drug related, maybe it is because it's clearly showing a financial gain, um, and this is even higher for black and brown men. When prisons are viewed as profit, we're gonna start acting um, as business owners. And as I said before, this will alter practices in a negative and unsettling ways.